Come sew with me while I talk about some things that I wish every sewist knew, no matter where they were in their sewing journey. If you're just here for the Feature Friday information, today it's Fraser Cardigan, and I'm gonna be sewing one, but first I'm gonna tackle this classic tee. And while I put this all together, I wanted to go through some things that have been on my mind lately. So if you've never heard of Love Notions before, or if you are a tried and true Love Notions aficionado, stay tuned. So while I sew this up, we're gonna do something a little bit different. I am going to put this all together and talk to you about some of the things that I wish people knew about sewing with digital patterns. This week we are at the Sew Expo in Washington, and I know that there's a lot of different kinds of people that are gonna be at that event. There's people just kind of at all different stages of their sewing journeys, and this might be the first time that they've ever dealt with digital patterns, or it might be the first time that they've heard of Love Notions before. We are an independent, small indie sewing company, and we create clothing patterns for people who want to sew their own clothes but need kind of like a beginner-friendly version. One of the first things that I wish everybody knew about indie sewing pattern companies, specifically digital ones, is that there is almost always a free pattern to get you started. And that's how it is for the classic tee at Love Notions. You can get this pattern when you register for and subscribe to our email newsletter list. When you subscribe, you'll get like a code back in your confirmation, and you'll just input that code at checkout for the classic tee. And the classic tee, I'm sewing the scoop neck version, but there's also a V-neck version and a crew neck version, and it's got like just like the most beautiful shaping. So I highly recommend getting that pattern and getting it for free. I think everybody should know about sewing with digital patterns is that there's almost always a freebie, and it's there to help you test out to see if the format is a good fit for you, and to see if you like the company, if you like the way that the tutorials are written, if you like the styles that are available to you. It's a really great way. It's like a low cost way to get your feet wet and see if you like the style of PDF patterns. So I highly recommend getting that free pattern by just inputting your email for us. Something else that I wish people knew about PDF patterns and sewing before they started, and really no matter where they are in their journey, is that there's many different formats that you can use when you are sewing a PDF pattern. This was the large format print. This was printed on a large sheet of paper, and I can print this out and it's all assembled and put together. But let me tell you about some of the other formats that we have as well for a digital sewing pattern. By the way, I'm sewing my classic tee up in this baby French terry. It is a really nice drapey fabric that's still got some like stability with it that I think will make a really nice feeling classic tee. I actually, over the winter, my husband got my an appointment for me to get my colors done. I'll have to tell you sometime about that experience. It was crazy. It was a little bit more emotional than I was planning for it to be, but apparently I am a soft autumn, and this is one of the colors that I should be wearing all the time. All right, so we're on point number 2, I think, and one of the things that I just started telling you about was the different formats that are available for PDF digital sewing patterns. So there's actually, and this is new, there's actually 4 different ways that you can access a digital sewing pattern now at Love Notions. Large format is the first way. And that's what I like to use here in the shop because we have a huge large format printer. It's an HP something or other, and it's fantastic. I just love it. It's so handy. It's so easy to use. It definitely was an expense, and it's worth every penny for us, but we print and sew patterns every single day. So we needed something that is going to be super quick and easy for us. I had to stop and go get some pattern weights because I'm kind of using what I've got available here. Tammy actually has a bunch of stuff packed up to take to the expo, and so that's why it wasn't right here. But I'm just gonna use some pattern weights to put down here. Okay, so then after large format, we have another, probably the most commonly used format that you can get for a digital pattern, and that is a print at home version, which you do on just like your regular printer. So a regular printer, obviously you can only print those letter sized pages, like the 8.5 by 10 or whatever it is. Like a European printer, it's I think it's A4, so that size. And so Love Notions patterns can be printed just on your regular printer at home. You don't have to have anything fancy to print. And so you'll just take those pages and line them up. It's called tiling them. So you just line them up in a row. There's like a layout for you in each of the pattern tutorials, and you just tape, and you just line it up to this line, and it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. And then, one other thing I forgot to tell you was that for the large format prints, if you don't have access to a large format printer like we do, you can send those prints that copy of like the digital pattern. We have a special format inside of our files that are always available to you. So there's unlimited downloads. It's always going to be in your account for you once you purchase it. And that file can be sent to a copy shop. So one of the places that we recommend sending your large format prints to is pdfplotting.com. And if you're at Sew Expo this week, come talk to us because we got a special code from them. They printed this amazing sign for us, and they gave us a special code to give to people to let them know that if you want a large format print like this, it's really just a couple clicks away. And I think they're one of the least expensive places to do it, and they're very fast. I think it's like same day shipping if you get it in by like a 1 p.m. or something. So take a look into that if you know that printing at home and tiling the pages is not for you. So I've got my sleeves going here. I'm just getting a couple extra threads here that didn't come. I might need to change my blade for my rotary cutter here. I'm doing the short sleeves version of this pattern, and I'm doing the scoop neckline. And I did blend sizes from a large at the bust to an extra large at the hip. So I'm just gonna take these cut pieces and put them over here. So this is kind of like a new thing, or actually this is the second to last format because we just added in a fourth format that's available. One of the more recent innovations in sewing is projectors. So what you'll do is get this file and you will put it into a special program. Many of them are free, and you will project your pattern from above directly onto your fabric. And Love Notions has great projector files. Most of our files have layers and solid lines that you can use for your projector, so it's easy to see. We actually have a table or like a short throw projector that's great for like smaller spaces. You can just put it on the table and it's kind of like lifted up a little bit, and then it's got this special way of like doing the angles so that the projection of the pattern goes onto your fabric correctly, because no matter how you go, you want to make sure that the size that you're putting down onto the fabric is correct. And so that's all these formats, that's all they're trying to do is just make sure that the size that you're projecting down, all of those lines and everything is correct. There is a huge amount of resources to help you get set up, to buy a projector. There's so many ways to get started in it. There's tons of groups that have popped up to help people. And there's a group called Projectors for Sewing that is on Facebook. One of the members there, hugely helpful person, her name is Sasha Sewist, and she has a huge amount of resources. I think Branelyn Daily is a huge help, as well as Sew and Tell Australia. All of those people are just huge helps when it comes to figuring out how to get that set up to work. But I know so many people who have installed a projector for their space, and they don't deal with paper patterns at all anymore. It's so cool. And then lastly, the last big thing that Love Notions has done, and this was kind of like a big swing, but we just had our first round of printed patterns. We picked out 7 of our best-selling patterns that are a variety of types, like garment types, like toppers and knit, woven, all that kind of stuff, sewing levels. We took a variety of those and had them professionally printed. So let me show you what that looks like in case you haven't seen it yet. Barrington Boxy Tea is one of the ones that we had printed. So it comes in this little bag. It's got this beautiful booklet that's imprinted, and it's just like really clear, bright illustrations. And then we have gotten for you printed a large format of all of the pattern pages. So this is another resource that you could use in accessing your digital pattern. And all of the patterns that are sold as printed patterns for Love Notions, we're adding the digital version to your account as well, so you'll always have it. It's like the fourth format for us at Love Notions, and I wish more people knew about digital patterns and accessing things, and we're just trying to make sure that everybody can start where they need to get into sewing with digital patterns. All right, the third thing that I wanted to tell sewists about, that I wish all sewists knew, is about the people behind the companies. So let me tell you a little bit about how Love Notions operates. Love Notions does testing with real people. We do not rely just on a computer program to guess everything out. We sew real samples with real people. We have a testing group, and in our testing group, we have a contingent of people who are like tried and true, like best, like super reliable, helpful people that give us feedback and help us think about patterns to offer, and they're called our ambassadors. And what I wish everybody knew was how awesome the ambassador team is at Love Notions, and how useful they are for every person who is sewing, because they're all a variety of skill levels, their backgrounds, body sizes, and being able to relate to somebody who is sewing the same thing that you are, and can give you like feedback and help and tips and resources. I just want to emphasize to everybody, I wish everybody knew how hugely helpful it is for people to follow the ambassador team at Love Notions. And you can do that if you go to the Love Notions website and you go to the About page. There is a listing of all of the ambassadors at Love Notions, as well as ways to get into contact with them. And one of the really cool things is that they all have a code, a special discount code that you can add on to your at checkout. It's like a little perk for people to shop through their links and to use their resources. So find somebody that you connect with and go follow them, go see what they've got for you. We just think this is something that is different than a lot of the other, like the big four pattern companies. We just really think it's so important to highlight those people and to give them things monetarily. They get a commission for patterns that people purchase through their links, and they also get a commission for people who use their codes. So go follow those people and find someone to connect with, because I think that's something that sets Love Notions apart a little bit from other companies. But many other pattern companies have representatives like brand reps and people who help them spread the word. And I just think that's something that makes digital sewing patterns a little bit different than your normal. All right, I'm ready to start on my Fraser cardigan now. I'm just about to tell you about the fourth thing that I wish everybody knew. But just one thing I know I'm going to be asked is, where did you get your fabric and what kind of fabric it is? And Tammy actually ordered this from Persnickety Fabrics, which is new to me. I've never heard of them before, but she said she's sewn with them since she was sewing for a boutique, sewing in her boutique children's clothing business. So this is a dead stock that they have acquired, and I think it'll make a really cool Fraser cardigan. It's a really spongy, loose weave sweater knit, and the only thing I'm worried about is that the band that I'm sewing here, when I attach it to the main fabric, it'll be wavy, so I'm gonna need to really be careful when I attach that. And actually today, there's a new sewing resource out for you from Cynthia about sewing a band and eliminating waviness on the band. So that's a really helpful little resource available for you. All right, as I try to lay out my Fraser cardigan here, I am gonna talk with you about my next point. I think we're on point number 4 of the things that I wish that sewists knew about digital patterns and just sewing in general. It doesn't have to be perfect, and that there's lots of help available online. So one of the things that Love Notions has is a free pattern support group. And it's just like a sort of like the loveliest place on the internet. And what you'll find there on this free, it's actually the only group that I am involved in on Facebook. It's sort of the only reason I go on Facebook nowadays. And there you will be able to get help. And lots of people who recognize that we're not looking for perfection, we're just looking for having a satisfying sew. And when we're feeling frustrated, it's nice to have like-minded people to help you through it. People who have actually sewn the same thing that you've sewn, sort of like following our ambassadors. It's so nice to have someone who's been there who can walk you through what's going on and help troubleshoot with you. It's especially great for fitting help. So all you'll need to do is just post a picture of you in your garment that you've sewn, and people who have tons of experience and who are so incredibly kind and considerate, they walk through it with you about how to improve the fit or just help you through understanding what different drag lines mean, and it's really helpful. So I wish that more sewists knew that it doesn't need to be perfect, and that there's lots of resources out there to help you through your projects. So the fifth thing that I wish sewists knew about was the efforts that the digital sewing pattern companies and just sewing people in general are trying to tell people about sewing and get people involved in sewing. There's a lot of things that people do that, some people feel like sewing is a dying craft, look at Joann's, it's closing, basically. It's been the lifeline for a lot of sewists, and it's closing, and there's lower sales, and things have been a little bit more complicated since the end of the pandemic when everything was going gangbusters. And I think there's just kind of a plateau that's kind of coming back, or a realignment maybe for some sewing related companies. And I wish that all sewists knew about the ways that sewing pattern companies and people in the sewing industry are trying to reach out to you and get you involved. So one of the things that Love Notions has done for a really long time in order to attract people and get them excited about sewing and make it accessible is we do $5 Feature Fridays, where we take a much loved pattern, we put it on a really good deal, $5, which is more than 60% off, and we share it with everybody with sewing resources. And I know a lot of other companies do this, a lot of other fabric companies are doing a deal of the week, or they're doing some sort of attraction to get people excited about sewing again and feel like they're able to, it just feels really gratifying sometimes to get a deal and get excited about something. And I think one of the reasons why this works really well for Love Notions, and it actually has for over the past 7 years, is because people kind of want their choices narrowed down for them. And when we take the time to just really hone in on one option, it just feels a little bit more realistic and easy to tackle. Sometimes sewing feels overwhelming. That's why we do our $5 Feature Fridays. And I hope that you guys enjoy them. We always want to hear more about the value that you guys get from any of the deals and promotions and stuff that we do. And I would just encourage you to support local or support indie pattern companies and fabric companies by taking advantage of those things, and don't let analysis paralysis stop you when you are about to tackle a new pattern. That's the fifth thing that I wish everybody would know. Now let's move on to the sixth thing that I wish everybody would know when it comes to sewing. And this one is actually a little more personal to Love Notions, but that is kind of the origin story or the backstory for Love Notions as a pattern company. So I always think it's kind of interesting to find out this information. It's some of the things that you just never know on your own. So here's a little bit of a rundown about how Love Notions came to be. So my name is Tessa, and I am basically the marketing person at Love Notions. I kind of talk about why I love the patterns and how to use them and helping people find the patterns that are right for them. I don't design the patterns. That is my sister, Tammy. So Tammy Meyer is the owner and head designer at Love Notions. It's just us here at the workshop. We have a workshop based in a south suburb of Chicago. And that's where we do all of our work. And our company, or Tammy's company, Love Notions, has grown quite a lot over the past few years, but we're still trying to kind of keep it small and manageable because we both have families and other commitments and lots of things going on in our life. So this is a small company. We have some lovely people that help out with moderating and helping with customer service. Mostly it's just me and Tammy kind of tackling everything here. Tammy started out in sewing as she created children's clothing. She started off with cloth diapers and then did like outfits and stuff, and kind of as her kids grew, she kind of adjusted and changed and pivoted. And then finally somebody said, hey, you've got to start making your patterns that you use for your cute kids clothing. You've got to start making those available for people who like to sew. And so she did, and it was just like the best decision ever. And that's how Love Notions began. So she kind of transitioned from sewing kids clothing to using her talents for creating patterns for ladies wear. And Love Notions has patterns for the whole family. We've got menswear, kidswear, outerwear. Tammy has courses that are available for some of the patterns that are just full length, walk you through every single step. And so Love Notions has really been blessed, and we're really thankful for people in our community who have been so generous and really believed in Love Notions. There's just a ton of people that have helped make this company what it is today. That's just a little bit about the backstory here. And actually, as far as my backstory, I didn't know how to sew until when my youngest daughter was born. So about 6 years ago, I kind of said, I don't want to sew. That's a family thing, that it's just a boring thing that I just have no use for. But then when I was home with my daughter, I kind of needed something that was just for me. So sewing is not just about it being my job, but it's sort of something that has really helped me as far as my mental health and feeling it's more than just a hobby for me. It's something that really brings me a lot of self-satisfaction, and it helps me feel good about myself. It's improved my self-esteem and my confidence, and there's just something about being a stay-at-home mom for a while that's hard, and sewing helped me get things done that, the kitchen floor. You sweep it once and it's going to be dirty again in 2 seconds. But if you sew something for yourself, that stays, and it's so satisfying, and it's so nice to take your hand to something and not be on a screen. It's so nice to take your hand to something that will stay done, that looks amazing, that you can kind of show off to people, It was something that was just for me. So I'm really grateful for what sewing has brought into my life, and I feel like I identify a lot with more of the beginner feelings that some people have, and feeling mystified by some of the hard parts in the process, but just kind of working on it and trying my hardest and seeing what happens. So Tammy's a great teacher for that. So if you haven't looked at her workshop courses, you should take a look, because that's how I learned to sew, but was by watching stuff that she made, and I guess realizing that people could start anywhere, even if they thought it wasn't for them, that it can be for them. It can be something that's attainable. Our mom is a very prolific quilter as well, so sewing does run in the family to a large extent. And so it's sort of like a little family hobby that we all have together. All right, I have just a few more pattern pieces to cut out here, and I have just one more thing I wanted to tell everybody, something that I wish sewists knew, and that is that there's exciting things that are coming for people who sew. I definitely want you to know that at Love Notions, we've got lots of exciting things coming around, and not the least of which is our printed patterns. Depending on how these go, we might add more in the future. And I wonder if other pattern companies will be able to do that as well, but it really just depends on the demand. So this is sort of an experiment for us. Who knows? This might be something that people are not super interested in, but actually, I don't know, it feels like it's going really, really well. We just launched yesterday, and Tammy has hundreds of orders to fill today. So it's really exciting. And I don't know, I hope that you take advantage, go get yours quick. I don't know when we'll reprint, what will reprint, or what new ones we'll add. So make sure that if you want a printed plus digital pattern from the ones that we have available right now, please go shop like ASAP, so that you can get what you want. And then in terms of other things that are going to be happening for Love Notions, like I said, we had that really cool new athletic top pattern that's coming. It is Princess Seams Welt Pocket. It's just lovely. I think we're actually going to do a collaboration with one of our very favorite pattern company or fabric companies, Surge Fabric Shop, and we're going to create some kits for people so that it will have everything inside of the kit to get you going right away. That's one of the things that we're doing at Sew Expo this week, is making kits with the fabric and the pattern, digital and printed, all together, so that people can just grab it and then just get sewing right away. Because that's all like we really want to do in the end, is just sew pretty things and have a good time doing that. And I think that's, that's one of the things that you'll find at Love Notions. Is that we're just really interested in making sure that everybody has a great time sewing, and that they've got patterns that are classic and easy, and that they're the ones that you actually want to wear, not the one-off, I can wear this one time, or maybe it was just like a fun, interesting sewing process, but things that you actually want to wear and that fit you great. So that's what you can expect at Love Notions. That's what I wish everybody would know. I'm gonna stop cutting in just a second because this blade, I think, needs to be changed because it is so squeaky. So I'm gonna go get this all sewn, and I'm gonna show you what my outfit looked like. If you're there at Sew Expo next week, make sure that you come find us at the Love Notions booth. We will be just one over from Amanda's Bundles on the Sew Expo floor. I think it's like booth 8 something, I don't know. It's in like the 700s or 800s. And we have 2 booths there, and we're partnering with Raspberry Creek to provide kits. So we can't wait to see you there. Come say hi, come ask us about a project that you'd like to start. I'd love to help take measurements or recommend a pattern, or just say hi to you and give you a fist bump or something. I hope that you head over to the description box and get any of the links that you need. Take a look at Cynthia's info about sewing and eliminating that wavy line that can happen when we sew bands on. And I hope that you keep sewing. I hope that you have lots of fun as you are sewing. And I think my next video is, tell me if this is something that you would like to hear about. I think my next video is going to be about the couple dozen fabric shops online that Love Notions uses. With the closure of Joann, that's a brick and mortar shop that people are not going to be able to access anymore. So where are we going to shop now? We actually haven't shopped very often at Joann's at all, and mostly shop online. And would you guys want to know about the big list of shops that we rely on? Let me know in the comments. Like, follow, subscribe, share it with your people, so that we can all sew together. Bye guys.